And there's several. Yeah. Good morning, Keller Williams, Roswell. Good to see all your smiling faces. Appreciate you coming in this morning. So we got a lot to cover. As you know me, I put 10 pounds of potatoes in a 5-pound bag. So you're going to leave with a bunch of ideas. Here's what I ask of you, and you've heard me say this a lot. Education without implementation is what? Entertainment. You didn't set aside an hour and a half of your day today to be entertained. You came here to drive yourself forward in your business, right? Okay, so here's what I'm gonna ask. Write down one thing. You're gonna hear a lot of different stuff today. I want you to write down one thing that you're either gonna start using in your conversations with your clients, or maybe something you're gonna implement in your business. Fair enough? Yeah. Okay, well, let's start the day off right. What are you guys grateful for today? Yes, Sissy.
I'm grateful to see your face.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad Robin's great. So.
Yes, I'll give you an update on her in just a second. Yes, lots of good news. So, all right, something you're grateful for. It could be a cup of coffee, the blue sky outside, a piece of business you got, dinner with your kid. Yes. Yes, all right. Yes. You need a whole jar. That's good news. Here you go. Got it? All right. Oh, it's bouncing around. Chris.
Well, it's just feedback. It's right. It is the amazing outcome. Thank you, Robin's.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, there you go, Chris. There you go. Give it to somebody. Give it to somebody. Donate.
For you.
All right, well, one or two more. Something else you're grateful for today.
Hey, Aubrey, may I? This is Anu.
Yes.
I'm grateful for Anne.
Aww.
Coach because just accountability, sheer accountability.
Oh, I love that. So, and changing lives. Changing lives. Love it. All right. Well, speaking of Robin Lemon, are you on it, Ray? Thank you. I put a picture up of her today because if somebody asked me who I'm grateful for today, it would be this wonderful woman right here, Robin Lemon. She is one of the hardest working, most caring individuals I've ever met in my entire life. And she had a big scare. And yesterday, going into the surgery at 8 o'clock in the morning, she didn't know which kind of surgery it was going to be. It was going to be an easy one with really good news, or it could have been a really bad one with some not so great news. And I'm very happy for those of you that don't know that it turned out everything's benign. She's fine. She had the lighter of the surgery. She should be back in 3 to 4 weeks, give or take, you know, however long that takes. And I'm also so proud of everybody in this office that stepped up to support her. Like, it's been overwhelming, the number of people that have said, what can I do? How can I help? And actually meant it and are doing it. So I'm also going to give a thank you to Kathy Ray, who I know is helping out. Today is your day that you said you were going to help out in the office for Robin. So thank you. So when you see her, when you see Robin, wish her well, maybe send her an email, send her a text message. to send her some warm wishes, and I know that'd mean a lot to her. Can you guys do that?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Okay, next up, Alliance Partners. Kathy Vitale, Alec Jones with Shelter. Give them a warm welcome. Come on up, please.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So just a few things this morning. So the first, I'm going to go ahead and get on your calendars the next appraisal class. And it should be up there, but it's going to be June 9th from 11 to 2. It's going to be a free CE and it is going to be in person. So the last appraisal class we had people kind of signing up to the last minute. If we could get a few days in advance, that would be great. You don't have to give us a month in advance, but a few days to get the count for the food and all that good stuff. So go ahead and put that on your calendar. You'll be hearing you'll be hearing about it a lot more between now and then. And also, so you guys should be getting the Shelter 6 every Monday from us. If you don't, I highly recommend reaching out to one of us to get it. It's 6 bullet points of what's going on in the marketplace. It's really good information. So again, if you don't get it, reach out to me afterwards. We'll make sure you're on the list. But I wanted to touch on 2 points, 4 and 5 this morning. So with the run up in interest rates, obviously we're seeing an effect to borrowers' buying power. We're also seeing a lot of extra costs associated with these higher rates. So the higher run up in interest rates are being associated with more discount points, especially the investment properties, especially the second home. So I had just kind of a quick couple of numbers for you guys. So on investment properties, conventional loan, $500,000 loan amount, your interest rate's gonna be right at about 6.125, and you're gonna have to pay 2 points for that rate. So on a $500,000 loan amount, you're talking $13,000 in points additionally. And the whole goal of that, the Fed's increased rates significantly for investment properties, second homes, increased costs associated to kind of slow down that investment property purchasing. So not only are we seeing the barrier to entry on the interest rate side and buying power, but now we're starting to see it on the additional costs associated. And then secondly, so we're also seeing that affect lower credit scores much more significantly than we were 6 months ago. So really we're kind of seeing that 720 be the magic number. If you're below that 720, you're really getting hit with additional costs. And so again, a 760 credit score you're seeing on the conventional 30-year rates running about 5.5%. If you have a 660 credit score, you're seeing 6.125 with about 1.3 discount points. So what that means is we're really pushing hard for our credit enhancement program. It's once we pull credit, we have a 30-day window to send the credit report to our credit enhancement team. They can look at it and say, you can do X, Y, and Z to get your score up to this point. Sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes it costs a lot of money to get it there, but sometimes it's as easy as removing someone as an authorized user from a credit card or something like that. So we're doing that on everyone to really help get those scores up. So if you have a borrower that is in that lower range, we're certainly going to look to see if we can do that. And then lastly, I just wanted to, yes.
So anybody can be qualified to get into that opportunity to put their credit within months?
So if you have to have at least a 580 credit score,
Yeah,
anything lower than that, we can't do the rescore.
okay.
But if you have a 580, we send all of our pre-qualifications to our credit enhancement team to see what we can do to get those scores up. So we're certainly trying to do that.
What's the cost of the program?
It's free, no cost to the borrower, and we do that complimentary for all of you guys. And then I just kind of want to give a rundown on where we are with rates right now. So today, conventional 30-year, we're at 5.5%, 15-year, 4.625, FHA at 5.5% as well. Jumbo, depending on the investor, you can be anywhere from 5.25% to 6%. Different investors have different guidelines. It just depends on your borrower. And then VA and USDA are going to be about 5.5% as well. So across the board, we're really seeing those mid fives. As we said last week, hopefully we're reaching the top, and they're going to start leveling off a little bit is the hope.
Dang, when he says investor, he doesn't mean investor like we may think, like an investor client. He's talking about who they're using to fund that from.
Correct. Yeah, we have multiple investors, Chase Bank, Wells Fargo. We've got like 10 of them at this point. So all of them have different guidelines that fit different borrowers. So yeah.
Good.
Yeah, any questions for me? No?
Thank you,
Yeah,
Alex. I appreciate it. perspective is really important. I remember in 2005, I bought my first house and I got a 5.75 APR and I was like over the moon because rates were well above 6, and I was like, great. We've been so spoiled with 3% rates that people have gotten, naive to what the reality is of interest rates. So it's okay that rates are in the 5s. Like historically, that's phenomenal. And share that story. So thank you again, Al. Can you do me a favor? Yes. When you grab a ship book, I'm going to give that away at the end of the session here. If you can, thank you. Okay. All right. So next up, Karen Schwartz, the county historian. Give her one welcome. Hi, Karen. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Karen Schwartz with O'Kelly and Sorahan. So we are your attorney alliance partner. I've been getting a lot of questions about this lately, so I gave you a little flyer. It's got part of it on there for corporations and how you're going to have them sign. Now, this you should be doing at the listing phase, buyer brokerage. Do not have them sign those documents individually if they're buying or selling as a corporation, a trust, executor of an estate, or an LLC. Okay, so here you have the example of the corporation. The correct way is to list the corporation. ABC Corporation would be your seller, for example, by John Smith as its president. For corporation, you need 2 officers to sign, or 1 officer and the corporate seal. Okay, so the president, if the president, vice president sign, president and secretary sign, fine. If it's just the president, you need that corporate seal on it. The incorrect way, which is what we see a lot, is ABC Corporation, John Smith. You got to have the capacity. So same thing for an LLC. So it would be ABC LLC by John Smith as its manager, if he's the manager, or member, if it's member managed and he has the authority to sign. For that, I'm always happy to look at corporate documents, at LLCs, operating agreements, to let you know who should be signing and how they should be signing. Same thing for a trust. So if John Smith is the trustee, he'll sign John Smith as trustee of the Mary Smith Irrevocable Trust, the Smith Family Trust, whatever it is, or as an executor. John Smith is the executor of the estate of Mary Smith. So I know sometimes with the filling in the forms that it's an issue, right? Do you want to put the seller's name as that entity, trust, LLC, corporation, and then they will sign in their capacity. Any questions about that?
Thank you for that. I actually called Kern on that issue, not specifically how to write it, because I knew how to write it, but my issue was how to put it in our documents. Does anyone, I was using Remind. So for instance, I was using Remind. So of course, when you put in the buyer's name, it's the corporation. But then as far as the signature, it has to be, John Smith, president, or John Smith, office or manager. And because it auto-populates and pulls the name of the buyer down into the signature, that was an issue.
Yeah, so you can put that in there and leave the name blank, like take the name out at the top where it would say,
Buyer.
It would say ABC Corporation, and then it would say Mary Smith as its president, whatever. So you just put in Mary Smith as its president, you save it, you download it, and then you go back and, or you can, convert it to a PDF, and then you go back and you can type in ABC Corporation. So that's, yeah. Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
More
give
color
it
to
to you.
the list.
Because yes.
I'm gonna get in with you so you can
Yeah,
tell me
it's
what
easy-
we're
it's
talking
easy. So
about.
yeah, it depends on what you're using to generate your Right. documents as to how you do it.
Yeah.
But yes, if you ever have questions about, or it's too long to fit, sometimes we see that, and I'll tell you, this is what you need to put in there so that it's right.
Got it. Thank you, Karen.
Thank
Appreciate it. All right. Okay, next up, Kelly Luzgenda with 210. I don't know if she's on right now. Save her number. She's been so helpful, especially this time of year. This is when things are starting to heat up. Things like AC units will unfortunately break. Things will happen. Call her if there's an issue. She has a lot of solutions, can get people involved. All right, Georgia Natural Gas, Michael Harris. Is Michael on the mic? Yes.
Hey, Aubrey, on the Kelly agenda,
Yes.
everybody remember when Roxy told us that she was down 55% in sales, right?
Yes.
So my thought was, how many of us have it on our own homes? Trying to help her in this different kind of market.
Mhm.
You know, I don't, and I'm gonna go ahead and get myself on the 210. So look into your own home to help Kelly out.
I have it on mine, every rental property I've ever owned. Yeah. It's an insurance policy. They've replaced water heaters, AC units, furnaces.
That's the big one, Aubrey. I switched from American Home Services and then went with Kelly, and I still have both policies. It's because some of them don't replace.
Yeah.
They'll only do it with repairs.
Yeah.
So if with that refrigerator with the AC, some home warranties will replace it, and that'll be a cost to the owner. So it would be who to look into adding Kelly's, because 210 will replace the whole thing, regardless of the cost.
Yeah, they do a great job. Thank you for sharing that, both of you. Okay. Michael Harris, Georgia Natural Gas. Okay, you got his number on there. I believe they get a discount when they sign up. So share that with your clients. Okay, vendor sponsor, Drew. Is Drew here? What's your name? What is it?
Have, PAU.
PAU. Pal, thank you so much for coming in. Give her a warm welcome, please.
So Drew's on his way, bringing food. If anybody's hungry, there's drinks out there. He'll be bringing the food in just a couple of minutes. Just want to talk a little bit about what we do. I know that Drew has talked to you guys in Bold as well last week. We did a big lunch for you guys.
Cooking, right?
Yes, he is. So over there, we have our ADT security. With every inspection, all the buyers are gonna get an email from ADT, and they're gonna get a discounted price with that. We also are doing 5-point inspections. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically, before you're binding, you can have us go out there, and it's a $250 inspection, and we're just looking at major things like foundation, roof, those kind of things that make you want to turn away maybe from the house or want the house, and we can go before you're binding, which is great. So, and then we're also, I don't know if you guys know about radon. We do add radon to every single inspection because it is the third leading cause of lung cancer. Now, the buyers are able to decline that radon test, but we do highly recommend doing radon because 1 out of 3 of the homes that we test radon for tests for high levels of radon. So what we do after that is we let you guys know, and you guys get a mitigation system. It is a 48-hour test. Now, we do cover the whole state. So if you have a buyer that's getting a home in Savannah, it's just a vacation home, we can go out there, no extra charge. We just go out there. You have someone in Macon, or you have someone close to Columbus, Rockmart, whatever. If it's in the state of Georgia, we cover it. Sometimes Drew will go to Florida if it's like at the border, but that's only Drew. But do you guys have any questions?
Yes. Did you say it was $50?
250.
250. Okay.
Yes, 250.
That's a steal.
250.
Is that pricing on the top left, is that with radon?
No, radon is 219. So this is based on square footage plus 219 on the radon. Anybody else? No? I think
Okay.
we're all good. Drew
All right.
should be coming in a couple of minutes,
With
okay?
food, yay, thank you,
Yes.
Kyle, appreciate it. Give her a round of applause, thank you. Okay, tools to help you do more business. I'll go through this quickly. Right now, it's hard to compete with cash offers. So wouldn't it be nice if you have 2 options for your buyers to actually get in some homes? That would be Homeward, Knock. We're actually talking with Ribbon right now as well, a lot about creating a partnership with them. So stay tuned on that. Key please, when you get busy needs, I want you guys living a life by design. If you have date night with your spouse and it's Friday at 6 o'clock and a house hits the market and they call, don't go show the home. Right? It's worth the $50 to pay another agent to go show it for you. You spend that time with your family member that you love, right? Use Key Please. It's also a great way to pick up cash as a new agent, you know, and get experience. Keller offers, get a cash offer on almost any home. Keller Ready to Sell, get your clients the funds they need and the upgrades. This is going to be important as things change a little bit in the market, I want you to like hear me today. Take a deep breath. Everything's gonna be fine. Like this market, it's gonna see some adjustments, some leveling out. And this is something most agents in the business, unfortunately, haven't been in long enough to see. That's okay. We want things to slow down. Homes should not be going up 20% a year and having 34 offers on every single home. That's not normal. How much do wages go up each year?
Not 20%.
Not 20%. So if that continued, homes would eventually become unaffordable, right? So it has to, that's okay. We have to be the economists of choice and be prepared to have conversations with our clients about what needs to happen in order to make the move, right? This ready to sell, if they need funds, maybe to fix up the house a little bit, they can get it free of charge, as long as they have decent credit, or if they have not so good credit, they pay a very small fee at the closing table. So this is free, a great way for you to get more listings. Yes?
Is this similar to Curbio? Like,
Yeah, similar, right? Yeah, yeah, very similar, except no fees, you know? So cover mortgage, 0 fees, no appraisals, and $1,000 credit. No shelter has been matching most of this. Also, bank shot in our nest. I want you guys to not have to drive in to drop things off. So if you haven't downloaded these two apps, do that. Go chat with Aaron and Lee about how to use them. Pretty much earnest money would be the best way to use this. I think we're going to start using it for commission checks too. So got that? Good? Makes sense? If you don't know what these are, take 20 minutes this week and sign up for one of them. Get certified so you can use it, okay? All right. Okay, I saw Robin added this in. I like this. What is your favorite bold law? Yes, Roxy.
What you focus on expands.
Okay, love that. Good one. Yes, who else? Yes. Change. Yeah, absolutely.
That was a hard one for me. I was just sharing that with a friend of mine. And what was interesting was, she goes deep like that. She said, Crystal, it's not that the things change, it's that you are changing.
Good
And I
perspective.
thought that was powerful.
It is. Yes, very powerful. Nicole.
The new one for me, and I passed it for a long time, is your sales fees dropping your costs. And I started noticing that even if I didn't speak it, when I thought about it, the stuff happened. I was like, oh my gosh. So if that's the case, if you focus on expand, make sure it's good ones, good thoughts. Because you don't want the bad thoughts come up.
Yeah,
I'm
very
not
good.
gonna eat that last piece of cake.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, faith, you choose.
Ooh, yes, that's a good one. Okay, one more.
No pressure, no diamonds.
Pressure, no diamonds. Yes, love that. There's we all have something in our brain called a reticular activator. Who's heard of this? Good, most of the room, right? You buy a new car, you see that car everywhere. You get a new purse or pair of shoes, you see that purse or shoes everywhere. It's not that it wasn't there before, it's that now our mind is focusing on that. It's heightened for that. So this also goes in our life with a lot of these things. So let's say we're out there, we're saying, oh, the market's hard, I can't get any business, I can't find any listings, right? Well, then our mind's gonna find things to support that. Our reticular activator is out to support reasons that that's true. The opposite is also the case. Right? If we say, hey, the market's the market, production's a choice, people are getting listings out there, I choose to be one of those listings, our mind will go to work to support that thought. That's the way our mind works. Otherwise, it would be an overload because we get hit with so much stuff every single day. It has to use the reticular activator to focus on what's important. Why not focus on the positive, on what's possible, on what we can do? Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, cool. All right, so a couple classes coming up. I know Understanding Command and DocuSign, that's today from 1 to 2:30 p.m. with Susan. I know we've got a couple of these this past, but Leanne will be here on the 24th at team meeting. She's doing appointments in person. Melody either just sent this out or is about to send this out. You guys will have more stuff for this week and next week, so stay tuned for that. Okay, I'm only gonna spend 2 seconds on this referral giveaway. I would love it if every single person in this room got paid more to be at KW than they paid in Split. I would love it if every person in this room every single month, if they didn't have a closing, they still have passive income coming in. Would you guys like that too? How do you do this? You introduce Robin, myself, or anybody else on the leadership team to somebody you recently had a closing with. You only want good people that would benefit from the opportunity of being here. Okay, so think about who did I have a closing with lately that I'd love to introduce to our leadership team, and we'll help you grow your passive income. What do you get? A couple of things. One, you help that person's life. That should be the first thing you're thinking of. Second of, you get some passive income. Third, we're doing a drawing. We're going to be giving away a MacBook Pro, Peloton, or a cabin giveaway. I'd love to see somebody in here win that. It's cross DLG. We'd love to see you guys win. Fair enough? Yes? Mhm.
If they move within offices, is it for life
Which part?
when you refer someone to KW?
Profit share?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
As long as they stay here.
As long as they stay with
They
KW.
stay within KW?
Mhm.
Anywhere.
Any office,
Yeah.
any country.
Mhm. Yeah, any country in the world, yeah. And in the world, it's called growth share, and in the United States, it's called profit share. Yep, great question. Thank you. Yeah, in order to be included, profit share you'll get no matter where they join. So in order to get the giveaway, they need to be one of our offices, our GLG offices. Okay. Okay. All right. Great. Okay. What are we going to cover today? Market update. How's our local market looking right now? Okay. We're also going to cover, this is a tough conversation to have, and it's one I think a lot of people avoid yet. Are you getting the questions yet? Are we in a bubble? What's happening? Is a recession coming? For all that, we need to be prepared to have that conversation intelligently with our clients. We're going to go through that today, okay? 7 ways to thrive in any shift. We're going to go through that as well, okay? Gary's talked about, now he says be the puck, but you've heard the quote before, like, why was Wayne Gretzky such a good hockey player? Because he went to where the puck was going, not where it is right now. So I want you guys to prepare for whatever may happen, such that if it does go there, you're on top of it, you're gaining market share. Guys, 2009, 10, 11, 12 were the biggest growth years of my personal life as far as gaining market share. You're at the company that wrote the book called Shift. So if something happens, feel comfortable knowing you're in the right place, and we're going to cover some of that today. Okay, fair enough? Hi, Carrie Beagle. Glad you can make it. And this is that quote from Carrie. The market's the market, production is a choice. We'll go through that today, okay? All right, let's jump in. So market update. What are things looking like? Well, there were 1,425 homes that hit the market that were limited active status over the past week. There were 1,154 that went under contract, and there were 1,170 that closed. Guys, that was during the last week of the month. So let's take a look. This is a dot on the map, right? So if you're looking at this, when you see numbers, how do we know if that's good or bad? It's just a dot on the map. Which direction is it going? We don't know until we look at a trend. We're going to look at a few trends today and some numbers today, right? So what have these been doing, actives, roughly? Stay the same. Okay, well, take a look for just a second. What's happening with this line? Pending, what's going under contract, it looks like it's starting to go down a little bit. Is this a trend yet? 3 weeks isn't enough for a trend, yet it could be. It means, hey, pay attention. Let's see what happens, right?
It has been the 3rd week in a row that more actives than pendings. So
Right.
if you go back a week prior, you'll see the opposite.
That's exactly it, Gary. Yep, that's it.
Which helps us.
It does. Yep. Okay, yes, Adam.
Weren't we seeing last year, like, we were getting more pendings a week than active?
Yes, every single week.
So it's starting to.
It's tilting the other way, right? That's okay. Again, deep breath. Having 0.7 months of inventory is not and 20% price increase is not healthy. We want this to get back to normal. This is okay, right? Okay, so and then down here, which direction are these going? Yeah, they're going down, even including the end of the month. Yeah.
I will say FMLS does not have everything showing it's closed. That was supposed to close the end of the month.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of them still showing it's pending.
Yeah. We'll see what happens and how that impacts this. We'll pull updated numbers, and yet this is telling a story, and it's one we need to watch. Okay, and you need to be prepared to have these conversations with our clients. So before we go any further, if I was a seller, right, would now be a good time to sell? Absolutely. If we're able to show this, because word on the street ain't quite out yet. Think about it this way: if a home's going up for sale and it's getting 15 offers, those buyers are saying, okay, well, I want to win this bidding war, so let's go in a little higher, go up 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, waive the closing costs, don't ask for the home warranty, right? Okay, well, now as inflation goes up a little bit, interest rates, they're trying to fix this with interest rates, right? Interest rates go up, less people can afford the home. Now that means there's less people making offers on properties. What if it gets to a point where there's not multiple offers? That same buyer that would have paid $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for the house no longer is doing that. Right? And in fact, they might be negotiating the other way, right? Yes.
I was really surprised. I got 23 offers on my listing just recently, and I was really surprised that 92.4% of them were all full list price, even though they knew it was a competitive situation. I was just like.
They weren't going above a lot, is what
Yeah,
you're saying, yeah.
I had two
Interesting.
offers that were 25 over, and that's the way we went, but the other majority just came in at full list price, which was shocking. You know, to see that,
That was a nice one, huh?
it was little, 125, was one of my investors' homes. But it was just, it was crazy to see that everybody
Maybe
was.
that's because the interest rate has affected the buyer.
For that
Well, they're-
potential one, maybe.
They're all capped.
Yeah.
They're still capped buyers, but still. It was
Yeah.
just interesting to see that, you know, which is kind of giving us a.
Just keep your eye on it.
Preview that, you know, things are changing.
That's right. Things are, and that's okay, right? Change is fine. This is the market.
Bored.
Right, yeah. Challenge will keep us on our toes, and that's when we grow.
Yeah.
So right now, if the word on the street isn't necessarily out with everybody yet, there's still multiple offers on most properties that are priced right. However, that could change soon. So the conversation I've been having with the seller right now is, do you need the money out of your current home to put down the next? Usually the answer is what?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So the best chance we have of getting the most money possible is when there's multiple offers on the home. Okay, and if things are slowing down, we may not be seeing multiple offers in the near future. I don't know, don't have a crystal ball, but this is the way things are starting to look. They'll still sell, just not with multiple offers, which means we may not get as much equity out of this home as we could right now. Here's the second thing. Are you gonna be moving to another house? Yes. Okay, are you gonna be locking in a mortgage on the next house? Well, which way are rates going right now? So wouldn't it make sense to take the maximum equity you can out of the home and lock in the best interest rate you possibly can? Yes. Okay, buyers, let's look at the buyers. Buyers may say, somebody that doesn't own a house right now, buyers may say, well, you know, I mean, I'm just gonna wait it out. I'm gonna see what happens. Guys, what happens to rental rates, whether it's a good or bad? They go up. They always go up. And right now, right, a 6% interest rate is a lot better than a 100% interest rate because you're paying 100% interest on rent, right? You got to pay to live somewhere.
That's a good line right there.
That is.
It's cheaper to own still than it is to rent. Rental rates will almost always outpace the prices that you pay on a mortgage.
Depends on where you live.
Depends on where you live, in Georgia anyway, and most areas in Georgia. So, yeah, not like, yeah, New York or places like that.
Buyer, say, oh, the problem about the box that interest rate use.
I am so glad you asked that, and we're going to dig into that in detail today. Yeah, love that. Okay. All right. So if you want a copy of these, you can edit them. There's a video on how to do it. You can click there to get the actual. So let's take a look at the markets. What's going on right now? So in April this year versus April last year, there were 5% more homes on the market. Okay. Yet there were 16% less that were under contract. Okay, again, that's a spot on the map. Is that good or bad? How does that compare to last year, right? Another good way to look at this is you could say failed. 12% of homes, failed, didn't sell. Which direction are we heading right now? By the way, balanced market is about 30% of the homes don't sell during their list period. They have to adjust the price, relist, that kind of thing. So let's take a look at just these first two, actives and pendings, okay? 5% more homes to choose from and 16.8% less going under contract. What happened last month versus the same time last year? Last month, there were 6.8% more homes for sale and 14% less under contract, right? This month, there's 16.8% less under contract. You follow that? Last month, there were, I'll go back one more time, 14.1% less under contract. This month, there are 16.8% less under contract. That's also showing up here, less going under contract. Again, watch this trend. Let's see what's happening. You guys follow me so far? Okay. Okay. Pending ratio, less of them under contract. Numbers sold, lower. It was also lower in March as well. Distressed properties, slightly higher. 0.1% is not anything to raise an eyebrow about. That could be just a small handful of properties on a monthly basis could impact that. Failed 12.1%, that's still a really good number. Month supply of listing went up. Why? Because the number of active versus the number of pendings changed. You see what I mean? Less going under contract. This just can't continue. Median original list price 16.2% compared to last year. That needs to slow down. Median sales price 17.3%. How can a sales price be higher than the original list price? Well, yeah, went over above asking price, right? And as the pool of buyers potentially shrinks because of interest rates rising, this won't happen as much going above list price. They shouldn't sell on median 102.3% more, okay? And about the same median days on market. Any questions on that so far? Good. I'm gonna send this out. Everybody will have a copy of this. So just today, just take some notes, pay attention, write down your aha, how you're gonna tie this into conversations. You know, whether it's something you hear, a word or a sentence you want to say, or a stat you want to use, write down your one thing. I'm gonna ask you later. Okay. All right. Party chatter. How's the market? Market's fascinating. That's a good word. Yeah, I like that. I like that tweet because it is. Yeah. Okay. The current list price to sold price, I adjusted it to reflect last month, the end of April, 102.3%. 65% of the listings overall sold at or above list price. That's still a very strong number. The median days on market is still 8 days. That's a ridiculously low number. There's currently 1 month supply of listing for detached homes. That went up just a little bit. Average sales price is median, $439. That just number sounds crazy to me. Starter income no longer buys you a starter home. That's true. Okay. Distressed sales are just less than 1%. Why do you ask? We won't necessarily do a role play today. We got a lot to cover today. And yet I want you to have one of these memorized. And here's one other thing I want you to have in your mind. Don't just give one stat. You need to get something that causes people to think. So the second thing you could say that would cause them to think, maybe you say, you know, the current list price to sold price ratio, as you've heard, is high. They're selling 102.3%. However, I noticed something interesting. And you might say this, that there's 16.8% less homes going under contract, you know, this April versus last April. What do you think somebody would say to that? Why? What's going on? So thanks for asking. And then you can dig into some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. Sound good? So pick something that will pique their interest and they'll see you as the market expert. Okay. All right. Okay. Are we headed for a recession? What's going on with the market? This was literally this morning that I got this. So everything's down, you know, markets, S&P fell below 4,000 points for the first time in more than a year as inflation concerns ruined a gorgeous day down on Wall Street. Big tech companies have lost more than $1 trillion in market value over the past trading sessions, 3 of them alone. And crypto, it says if Bitcoin is indeed a store of value, it certainly hasn't proven itself yet with things falling, right? So what's going on? Are we headed towards a recession? So first, let's define what a recession is, okay? What is a recession? Everybody know?
So many consecutive months.
Very close, yes, yes,
Downturn.
yes.
6 months?
Let's see. Oh, here
Quarters of negative growth.
Okay, good. I like it. Okay. All right. So, all right. The widely adopted definition by economist Julius, I don't know how to say, back in 1974, which became a common standard over the years, said a recession is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified in falling in GDP for 2 successive quarters. Okay. Yeah. Here's another definition from the National Bureau of Economic Research, who's generally recognized as the authority who defines the starting and ending dates of the U.S. recessions throughout the history of our country. What did they say? They said very similar, a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months, normally visible in real GDP, real income, employment, and industrial production, and wholesale and retail sales. Okay, so what is GDP? Some people maybe sit in the room saying,
It's domestic.
okay, all right, good. So at least half of you. So it's a measure used to evaluate the health of economy. It's the total value of the goods and services produced in the United States, in our case, during a specific period of time, usually a year. GDP is used throughout the world as the main measure of output and economic activity. It's what we're making here. Make sense? Okay. All right. So what defines good or bad GDP? What is good or bad? Economists traditionally use gross domestic product to measure economic progress. If it's rising, then the economy is great. And if it's on the other hand, if it's declining, the economy might be in trouble. Okay. So what did our GDP do? Where are we at in the first quarter of this year? It went down by 1.4, not 14, 1.4%, not 10, not 20, 1.4. Okay. So far, no big deal, right? Okay, could that mean if this quarter doesn't see increases, that this could be labeled as a recession? It does. If it went down another 1.4 this quarter, it would be labeled as a recession. But is 1.4 a huge decrease? No, right? A recession comes in different impacts. Some could be a really bad recession. Some can be just a leveling off, right? A kind of rebalancing where things need to be. And I've got some really good graphs and tools and resources that I know you're going to want a copy of when we're done today. Okay, I'll show you those. So is it always a bad thing for everyone? Is it bad for everyone? No, it's opportunity. Luck is
Anytime
when
prices decrease on anything else, we think it's great, it's on sale.
yeah, right, yeah. Except for houses. You know, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Are you prepared? If not, what do you need to do to be prepared for whatever may happen and navigate through the economy? So, okay. All right, who can thrive in a recession? All kinds of people can thrive. It's opportunity. Okay, so how will that impact your clients, a recession? What would happen?
It'll vary.
It'll vary for the client, right? So give some examples. Who would it be hard for?
I don't know, retirement.
Yeah, fixed income people, low income, right? Absolutely.
As Susan said, people close to retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. If they're depending on, dividends from investments, this absolutely could be a tough time for them. Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, I mean, honestly, it could be hard for a lot of people. Interest rates being higher, if they're trying to make payments, it's going to reduce the price of the house they can buy, right? So that could be hard. Who could it be really good for?
Investors.
Investors. Yeah, there could be a lot of opportunity for investors. Absolutely. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So would it be smart maybe to know how to work with investors in case that something did happen? Maybe go get bank owned certified, maybe learn. There's not really many shorts. There's so much equity in houses right now. I don't see short sales being a thing anytime soon. Unless they go to doing 100% financing right now for a large chunk of people, I don't see that being an issue. I think people may be forced to sell because if property values go up, even if they have a locked in mortgage payment, taxes can go up, right? Okay. And if everything out there keeps on going up in price, goods, gas, food, everything that we need to live keeps going up, they may say, I can't afford this house anymore. Doesn't mean short sale. They may have 100 grand of equity in the home. So they sell the home. They get something different, cheaper, and they keep some of that equity set aside. Make sense? Okay. All right, so how specifically will that impact you? We kind of covered this. It may reduce, it will. If there is a recession, it will reduce the number of people that are ready, willing, and able. Why? Because right now, a lot of people have bought just because they want to chase the market, okay? And what's going to happen is the motivated are going to come out. You need to find the motivated. That's one of the shift tactics we're going to talk about. Find the motivated. If they need to move, job transfer, something important, life-changing event, those are the people you want to go find and help them, focus on them, okay? All right, what typically happens during a recession? We're going to look at that first. So first, let's look at what causes a recession so we can understand it, explain it to our clients, and look at how that affects real estate so they can make a good decision. So according to Forbes, and this is an actual hyperlink, so you guys can click this a little bit later. I think it gives 5 or 6 of them. A sudden economic shock, right? So what do we see most recently? Coronavirus, that everything shut down, nothing was made. That's a sudden shock, right? Or oil embargo, something like that, right? Excessive debt. So businesses or individuals taking on too much debt. This is when they would let people take 2nd, 3rd, and 4th mortgages out on their home. They're using their home as piggy banks. They're not doing that right now, right? Not 100% financing. It's very rare to be able to pull out 100% of the equity in your home right now. Okay, asset bubbles. Irrational exuberance inflates the stock market or real estate bubbles. And when bubbles pop, panic selling can crash a market. So outsized gains in the stock market in the late 1990s is an example of that. Okay, this is the one we're seeing right now. I made it red. Too much inflation. Too much inflation. Inflation, don't confuse inflation with interest rates. Inflation is the cost of the goods you're buying, everything going up in price, okay? Interest rates is the way they try to curb some of this. So we'll talk about that in a second. Too much deflation is when prices decline, okay? Inflation is the one we're seeing right now. You guys follow those? Got that? Okay. All right, so and the last one is technological shock. Today, some economists worry that AI and robots could cause recessions by eliminating categories of jobs. Like look at, self-driving trucks and cars, could eliminate cabs and truck drivers, right? Things like that. That's going to change. Those people need to go do something else. And if I'm them, I'm looking, well, what skill set do I need to develop such that if that happens, I can transition to this other job. Does that make sense? Okay. But right now, this is the one we're looking at, inflation. Okay. All right, so why is this different for housing than it was in 2007? I'll give you 3 reasons. There's a lot of them, I'll give you 3. One of them is supply and demand. Who was in the business back in 2007, right? Okay, you guys remember, I mean, they would build out whole neighborhoods, spec homes, right? There was inventory everywhere. There was no trouble finding a home. Right now, they can't build them fast enough to meet the demand. That's why the supply is so low. What is the basic fundamental of economics? Supply and demand. And supply is what way right now? Is it really high or really low?
Low.
It is low.
And that's affecting the GDP.
Yeah, everything. Yes, that absolutely is. So, all right, here's the second one. People have massive equity in their homes. We talked about this earlier. They're not using this piggy banks. They've got equity in their home. So it's not gonna be like, oh, the market's crashing, I need to dump it, right? If they make a move, they may make a move, but they've got equity in it. It's not a fire sale. You see, they're not walking away from the home and then the bank's gonna get it back and the banks have to sell it really, really low. There's so much equity in homes right now. Yes.
However, though, some of those people are in the same mindset, they don't know that they may have all the equity. And that's why we do an equity analysis now.
It's our job to do
And they may
that.
not know that, hey, I might be a few months behind forbearance, but I can still sell, right? So we need to be in constant contact with our people.
It would be really smart in this room today to send a text message to pick 5 people and say, you know, if one of the buyers in our office was willing to pay a price for your home, would you pay a price you consider? Let me rewind here and try this again. Would you be willing to sell your home to one of our buyers? You could say that. We in this room, raise your hand if you have buyers right now. Okay, and look at that's 3/4 of the office, if not more, right? And we've got close to 400 agents. There's a lot of buyers that want to buy homes. You could legitimately send that text message, and when they say yes, or we consider it, or depends on the price, you say, great, let's get together and talk about what price will be the right price to ask for it, and then I'll find out who in our office has a buyer who will buy it. Send that message out. Andy and Leslie do this every day, and they get leads every single day from it. Every single day they do this.
Sell your home to one of our buyers.
And ours means our office is buyers, right? And you would represent them on the listing end, right? Okay, the other one is there's tighter lending standards to get into homes. Like we mentioned earlier, it's not, hey, you can fog a mirror, you can get to a home. I remember in 2008, I was helping a family move here, and my recommendation is always, hey, I know you already have a lender, and I would recommend just having a 5 to 10 minute conversation with, I've worked with a lot of lenders over the years. I've only kept the names and numbers, the one that have great fees, they get to the closing table, they take care of the clients. And this 5 or 10 minute conversation could save you thousands of dollars. You may go back to your current lender and negotiate a better deal. If you do, high five, awesome. However, would it make sense to at least have that conversation to potentially save you money? Okay, great, I'm gonna connect you with my lender. I don't give them the number and say, call them. I give it to my lender and have my lender call them, right? Okay, I mentioned this to somebody and I remember their name, I remember their family so well, and my heart's out for them. They said, no, we've got everything handled. We don't want to talk with anybody else. We're loyal to this person. I said, no problem at all. I don't get anything from you using, their lender. It doesn't matter to me. If you have them, use them, and closing got delayed. And then I said, okay, you may really want to talk to my lender just, to make sure, to have a backup plan. So no, this lady's got it. Closing got delayed again. So we extended twice. At this point, she had packed up her entire family, her entire life to move down here. Right, already moved out of the house. Now they're having to stay in an overnight hotel, waiting for this closing to happen. Didn't want to talk with the lender. Didn't want to talk with the lender. 2 extensions finally did it because the seller's like, I'm not extending again. And my lender in 5 minutes is like, there's no way she's gonna qualify for a loan. I could have told you this 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago.
And she probably knew that too, that's why she didn't want to talk to them.
Maybe, probably, So
They
but-
heard what they wanted to hear.
Right.
So Aubrey, how do you address the customer who says, how do you address the credit being pulled multiple times by different lenders?
Use an article, Google this by Clark Howard. He said if the credit is pulled for a house within, I believe it's a 90-day period, doesn't matter how many times it's pulled, it doesn't hurt the credit. It's a short period of time. Clark Howard, the Consumer Reports. Or 30 days, yeah, 30 days. Yeah, wherever that time, but here's what Clark Howard said. He said they can't, that the people are expected to shop for a mortgage and that's okay. What they don't need to do is go shop for a mortgage and then apply for a car loan and then apply for a credit card and then go get the furniture loan, right? All of that, those different things in different industries will kill it. But this is what he said within 30 days. That way it's not you saying it, say, hey, here's this article. This is what Clark Howard said, Yeah. And even if they won't do it, if they have a copy of their report, have them send it to your lender. and have them look at it, do it that way. So,
I just wanted to hear how you have.
yeah,
Because, yes, you are aware that it's not the same rate either. The point is, it isn't the same score
sure. Mhm.
as if you were going out applying for a car loan.
Right, yeah.
Or what they're gonna put a car mile.
All right, so why is the government increasing interest rates?
To control inflation.
Yeah, they're doing it to curb and, oh, I meant to do that. Smart group. To help curb inflation. Here, okay, what does that mean? How is that happening? Well, think about it this way. When they increase the interest rates, when inflation, okay, so cost of goods are going up, going up, going up. A lot of people are feeling the squeeze, especially lower income. They're having trouble. They were used to making $500 a week, $600 a week, $1,000 a week, or whatever it is. And now that same $500, $600, $700, $800 a week, they can't hardly fill up their car and pay for their food, right? So let alone go pay for a vacation. But they've stopped their vacations. At a certain point, inflation will affect everybody. So what do interest rates do? So when everybody has a lot of money, when everything's going really well, we're buying everything, we're taking all these vacations, right? So when interest rates go up, everything gets more expensive. And at a certain point, everybody in this room will feel the squeeze. And right now, has interest rates affected us on decisions we're making? Maybe not. But if it keeps going up, at some point it will. At some point it will. So when they increase interest rates, the goal is to help reduce inflation because it's causing things to become more expensive because of interest rates. So the prices don't continue to rise or they're out of reach. This is like this is the analogy Gary used, trying to land a plane on a needle point, right? So oftentimes they do it too far and they miss it, right? And it causes a slight recession. Do you see what I mean? That's what we're up against is it going to cause a recession? If they can land the plane on the needle point, great. Chances are they may miss it a little bit and then it'll correct back. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So inflation is the upward trend in prices over time. Inflation isn't a good or bad thing per se, but excessive inflation, increase in prices, is a dangerous phenomenon. Central banks control inflation by rising interest rates, and higher interest rates depress economic activity, people buying everything. Out of control inflation was an ongoing problem in the US in the 1970s. To break the cycle, the Federal Reserve rapidly raised interest rates, which caused a recession. Okay? Make sense so far? Okay. Increasing interest rates helps curb inflation, but doing it without causing recession, like I said, is like trying to land a plane on the pinpoint. It's very difficult. Okay, so how long do recession? Let's say they do miss it by just a little bit. Okay, and by the time that time they stop increasing interest rates, they've missed it. It caused a slight recession. Okay, how long does that last? So NBER tracks the average length of U.S. recessions, and according to them, from 1945 to 2009, the average recession lasted 11 months. 11 months. Okay, that's how long it lasted. The consecutive quarters, right, until we broke out of 2 consecutive quarters of positive gain. Okay, 11 months. Over the past 30 years, the U.S. has gone through 4 recessions. 2020 only lasted 2 months, right? That was when everything shut down because of what was the first thing we talked about, unforeseen economic condition or something. The Great Recession was 2 years before things started climbing back, positive GDP. 2001 dot-com recession was 8 months, and the 1990 Gulf War recession was 9 months. Okay, that's what those look like. That's the history of them. This is something I want to show you guys. It's really cool. This is a very powerful graph, and it's actually interactive. I'll show it to you, that interactive one in a second. These gray lines represent a recession. Okay, that's what each of these represent is a recession, going back to before 1970. Okay, here's what I want you to notice. Look at this line during this recession. Which way did it go? It's overall went slightly up. I'm going to show you something in a second, like the actual prices before they officially came out of the recession. It was like slight dip, then back up during the recession. Slight dip, then back up during the recession. Okay, that happened in 1970. Look at this line. Which way is that going? Going up, right? Look at this in 1980. Still had it went up high, it fell, and then it went up, right? Here, dip in the middle, right here, and then back up again. If you look at this whole line right here, it's up. You see what I mean? 1990, right before the recession went high, it dropped low and then stayed steady and then went back up right after 1990. 2000, that one was pretty much a drop the whole time, but then immediately shot back up. So if you just took the line, it's almost like it didn't exist. You see what I mean? And this is just within a year or two period, almost like it didn't exist. This was the big one, the Great Recession, not Depression, Great Recession of 2007, 8, 9, 10, right? So what happened there? What's that?
How many years was it zero? I can't really see it.
Oh, it looks like, if this is 10 years, 1960.
Thank you. I mean, our people think that that is always gonna happen. That's always gonna happen, and not realize that that's not the pattern that we set.
Well, it's the most recent and it was the most severe.
Yes, that's what's on people's minds. Oh, that's gonna happen again. That's why I showed the reasons like this is not the same as 2007. That's why this is different, right? We've got equity in the home, right? Supply and demand, and people and the lending standards are different. Those 3 great reasons to share. The interactive one, I'm not gonna click because it hit me off and I have to come back in. But when you click here on this, you can actually hover your mouse over this and it shows you, it's really cool. It shows you the average price of the home in that year. Like as you're moving your mouse across, it just shows you the average prices. Like it just pops up on the screen as you're dragging your mouse across. So you can literally, next time you're at an appointment with a buyer or seller, show them this. If you're thinking they might ask you, oh, we're about to hit a recession, I'm gonna wait, right? Show them, hey, thank you for mentioning that. That's a concern a lot of people have right now. Always say that, acknowledge their concern. Say, let's dig into let's look back since 1960 and see what's typically happened in a recession to give us an indicator of what we could expect going forward, right? Now, and even in 2000, when it hit 2007, right? Yes, prices dropped and then hang tight a few more years and they came back. Like this line still ends up, if you follow this, here, this is better, okay? This is that line. So if you take the national current 4% line, like this is the line we should be on. And during those years of the boom before we had the crash in 2007, we went above that line for barely here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And part of the 8th year, we were above that line. Okay, then boom, everything hit. Prices did drop, the worst drop they've ever seen in any recession ever. Look at all the other ones. This is the only one that had one like this, right? The only one. And then it came back up slowly. We've only been above this line again, this 4% line, for 1 year. This is the 2nd year we're above that line. So is it plausible that we could have a few more years of a good economy of increasing prices before there's an adjustment? Say yes. Yeah, it's possible, right? And is it also possible that when we do have an adjustment, that it's similar to this one, right? Where it may go down slightly or it may stay the same, right? And it may eventually, during that recession period, actually go up rather than being 20% increase in prices. What if it dropped to 2? Is that the end of the world? No, it's okay, right? In fact, it should. So if it went to 2% increase a year, that might actually help the people that haven't gotten wage increases for much of, they're only getting 5% wage increases, right? Or 4, right? That makes sense? Is that graph helpful to see those?
Yeah.
How to have those conversations? And will it be helpful to send these to you so you guys can play with them?
Yeah.
Okay, play with it for sure. It's really cool to hover your mouse over here and see exactly what happens. So this is where we're at. This is where we're at. So, okay. What did you notice in those graphs as it relates to home prices?
They steadily increase.
Yeah, over time, I mean, you just take a look at these lines, just take a look at the line. It's gonna go up. Any 6, 7, 8, 9 year period, you're gonna have an increase in prices. Okay?
And no matter what, as long as you need a place to live, it still wins. You're still a winner.
Right.
Because home prices will always go up.
Over the course of time, they will.
And
Unless you're
I
looking to
6%
move.
Interest and 100% interest.
Right, yeah, that's it. Yeah, 6% interest on loan or 100% interest on renting. Which one do you want? Somebody say something? The Scott was.
I think we might be underestimating Gen Z's preference to just go live with their parents for 2 years instead of rent.
That's
Not
why we're
everyone's
moving
gonna
to
live in my house.
Hopefully that will wear off. We'll see what happens. Okay, so how can you use that in your conversations with your clients? How could you see yourself using it? What would you do?
Well, it's hard to argue with facts and numbers. I mean, I think for some, I think if we've got someone who's emotional or concerned, I mean, you just lay it out. Let's look at what's happened in the past. Let's see what the trend is. It makes the conversation easier.
rather than saying I feel,
Right, it's not
we're
my opinion.
showing, it's not my opinion, here's the numbers.
Right.
Whether we're a data person or not, come with it, because a lot of your clients will be.
Or they'll be running off emotion. And you just
Yeah.
get it back to that.
Yeah, that's it. Emotions make you think,
Logic
logic makes you think, emotions make you act. So we need to show them the logic, so their emotions are in check. Otherwise their mind's gonna go crazy, go to worst case scenario. And let's just tell them, deep breath, take a look. Let's see what typically happens. Michelle, did you have your hand up or Precious? Yeah.
Once his drummers come back, okay, where am I gonna leave?
Okay, so the concern that you have is they're like, okay, I'll put my home up for sale if I'm have nowhere to live. That's where we started the whole class with second or third slide was homeward, ribbon, knock, go find the home that you want. Like your message of the moment, we know is a lack of inventory. Let's go find the home for you to buy first, but they need to be approved with ribbon, knock, homeward, or one of those. That way they can buy their new house, then put their own old home up for sale, not have double payments, right? And be able to get the equity out to buy the new home, depending on which program they use. Yes.
Precious, that's a great question. So let me ask you, if we could put your home on the market today, sell it today, and allow you to stay in your home up to 6 months, to allow you to have the cash to shop for that next home, is it something that would make you feel more comfortable?
Well said. That's the other way to do it. Very well said. Give her a round of applause. That was good. Actually staying in the home without having to use one of those programs. Just
You
rent it
don't have to
back.
sell it today, but you will be the tenant of your home while we're shopping for your next home. You essentially have the cash to do that.
There you go. Yeah, great. Well said. Okay. How long do they intend to stay in the home? If it's more than a couple of years, they're going to be fine, right? Unless they're trying to sell it a year and a half from now or 2 years from now, they're going to be fine. And even if they did, let's see what happens with prices.
Well, even with that, it depends on the area, because I have a guy in Tucker who made 250,000, he's only in it for just shy under a year.
That should not happen. That should not
Yeah.
happen. Yeah. But it does. That's been happening. That needs to slow down. Okay. So what's likely to happen? Interest rates, they're going up. They're still creeping up. And 5 point something is still good. That's still really good. How will higher interest rate impact them if they wait? They may not be able to afford the house they want, because two things are happening right now. Home prices are going up and interest rates are going up. That is spreading that gap of their affordability. Do they need the equity out of their home to move? We talked about that earlier. What happens to their ability to move if prices and interest rates continue to rise? They may not be able to move. They may say, I can't do it anymore. Nicole.
So back to how will that interest rate impact their home? Actually, for the actual homeowner, property owner, it may not affect them at all because they got so much equity, their down payment, but it will affect the first time home buyer. Is that what I'm seeing?
Say that again. Let me try to understand it.
So if it's a property owner, and we know they have 100 grand or whatever. they
In
have
equity?
in it, in equity, it may not affect them as far as they can still go up to the higher price point and buy.
Mhm.
Even if the 6%, that will affect the first time.
Oh, yeah.
buyer. I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, it will. That first time buyer,
First
them
time
waiting
home buyer,
is
they have
costing
nothing.
so much money. Yes.
All right,
It is.
I understood what you're saying.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, so this is from, I think it's RIS Media. I've got the link in here so you guys can see later. They're awesome. They have really good graphics you can use. Most of them are free. This is one of their free ones. If you wanted to brand it, I don't know what they charge to brand it, but you use the free ones. So 2022, this would be a great social post. Housing market forecast. Home prices forecast this year are expected to go on average, the average of all the forecasts are 9%. And that goes from the really conservative people who are saying it's going to go up too much to the highest end. And actually, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are on the higher end. They're saying 10.8 or 10.4. Some of the other ones, NAR is saying 8.4. This is what the economists are guessing for this year. Nobody has a crystal ball, yet it doesn't say 20%. Also doesn't say 0. So 9%. Mortgage rates are projected to rise. So the 30-year fixed mortgage rate will likely peak somewhere between 5 and 5.7. Nobody knows. Could go higher. What are they right now? 5.5 that we heard this morning, give or take. So that's lower than 5.7. Let's lock in now. Okay. Home prices projected to be strong. So 2022 home sale forecast, they're projecting NAR, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, NBA, they're all expecting over 6 million in home sales. 6+ million. That is record breaking, if not the best top 2 or 3 in the history of ever. Last time I checked, it takes 2 parties to make a sale, buyer and a seller. We need to get our way in the middle of that somehow, right? And represent one of those parties. Okay, is that helpful, having that too? Use that, send it out to you, you'll have the link. Okay, 7 ways to thrive during a shift, and I'm gonna give away a couple books in a minute, so
Yeah,
take
you're
take some
right.
notes. Yeah, all right.
Come on,
So,
Nicole.
yeah.
Some of that good-
Oh,
You win everything.
yeah, oh, Nicole, she does.
there you go. I
She
win
has a
everything.
lot.
Yeah, claim it, honey.
Yep.
But sprinkle some of that fairy dust over here.
No, whatever, Robin.
So here's what happens, and this is likely what's going to happen in this market too. This is on page 11 of Shift. So you guys can go back and look at this a little later. There's a graph that they have. And this graph has 2 boxes. And it's a seller and a buyer. And how do I do the dots on this? Okay. So I want you to think about this like a golf swing, okay? And the golf swing starts back here, right, and goes through. So if you, my swing's terrible. As we get here, so think about the swing. When you're getting down toward the bottom, what's happening to the club? The end of it's going faster, right? It's as you swing, it's getting faster, right?
I grew up
So-
on a golf course, but I never played to explain it.
Yeah, so when you start up here, as you're moving, your swing's getting faster, okay? And the end of the club, if you look at the end of it, it's gonna be faster out there than it is right here, okay? Make sense? Because it's further out, okay? So look at this, think about how things happen with buyers and sellers. When confidence in the market starts to shift, it'll happen slowly and get faster and faster and faster. So right now, people are wondering what's gonna happen. When national media sources start saying or labeling it as a recession, even if it's only 1.4%, there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, I need to do what I need to do now, right? Or I'm going to wait. And for sellers, it's gonna be, I need to move now because I need the money out, right? And for buyers, it's gonna be, I might wanna wait. In other words, the sentiment happens slowly and then suddenly. Does that make sense?
There it is.
Yeah, okay.
That's your favorite saying.
It's,
Things happen slowly.
I got it from Gary Keller, and I'm sticking with it. So,
There it is.
all right. So a couple things. I want to show you guys. Do it this way. Okay. So seven ways to thrive during a shift. Number 1 is get real, get right. Mindset and action. Write that down. Okay, this is on page 24 of Shift. It says, to survive a shift, you must, you know what? Yeah, read it that way. To survive a shift, you must make the mental shift that runs towards what you want most and avoid the temptation of running away from what you most fear. Remember that success is never about the chosen few, but always about the few who choose. The good news is you get to choose and your life builds from there. On page 24. Gary went on the bottom and said you can't control the market, but you can control your outlook and your response to the market. Remain resolute. Know that while everyone won't succeed in the shift, some will and anyone can. Anyone in this room can. It's your choice. You must be, it's not just a short-term attitude that you adopt, but a long posture you take. It's a journey you embark on led by the mental choices you make. Be certain of this, your mindset matters. So start off, get real, get right, mindset and action. In other words, we have to believe, yes, it doesn't matter what happens to the market. I can survive, I can thrive in a shift. I just need a clear plan, okay? All right, the action shift. So here's the second one. Let me finish off on action. Once you've gotten real, which is the first part, get real. The second part is get right into action and the right action. So I love this explanation. He says on the bottom of page 26, what do I do right now? That's the question that most people ask. And he said, actually, this is a 2-part question. The first asks, what must be done right? And the second then says, what must be done now? The answer to that 2-part question becomes your focus and yours alone. Understand that what worked yesterday probably won't work today. And what matters now probably didn't then. When the market shifts, new strategies are required and new actions are critical. Make sense? Okay. All right. The next one's find the motivated. Find the motivated. What does that mean? What does a motivated buyer or seller look like?
Someone who has to move.
Yeah,
Someone who has to move versus someone who wants to.
right.
As you mentioned, the life events, pregnancies, job transfers, unfortunately, death.
Yes, all of those are events that trigger somebody that has to move. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. All right. How do we find them?
So you call all the unmotivated first and then find who's motivated.
Here's what I found that's interesting with agents. And go ahead and repeat that, Marie.
I say call all the unmotivated people first and then what's your motivation?
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. What I found with a lot of agents is they'll cling on to somebody that has no motivation. Like, what can I say to get this person to make a move? I'm like, here's what you say, go find somebody else. You know, go find some, you can't force someone to move.
You can't want it.
You can't. Just go find more people. And then when you have enough in your pipeline, if that one doesn't work out, you're not attached to it.
Well, they're just a 5, and then they have to eventually get to a 9 and 10 right.
Right.
But they're just a 5 means nurture.
Yeah, so find motivated. Okay, so where can we find them? Look for those life-changing events. Find your way to get, you can pick your niche on those life-changing events, and you can become a specialist in that. Okay. Okay, price ahead of the market. I want to show you this. So, oh, and by the way, let me go back and find motivated. On page 49, Gary said, he had a quote, he said, it's from Jonathan Winter, he said, if your ship doesn't come in, swim out to it. It's a good quote. Right, we might be, how often we find ourselves waiting for something to happen? If your ship come in, swim out for it. He said, fewer leads, fewer showings, and increased days in the market. The minute those 3 things show up, take notice. So again, fewer leads, fewer showings, and increased days in the market. The trends we have are just really going to show days on market, okay, which are increasing slightly, and we might likely see that increasing in the coming weeks and months. Fewer showings, you can get reports from showing time on showings on properties. Keep an eye on that. There'll be some articles coming out on too. Fewer leads is a little harder to measure on a micro level because what you're seeing in your individual business may not be indicative of what's happening in the general market. Yet when you get a big group of top producing people together, you come to a common consensus. This is a tough time of year to judge that because this is when the market's really ramping up. Everybody's putting their house on the market, right? So those are the 3 things, though: fewer leads, fewer showings, and increased days in the market. The minute those signs show up, take notice, don't ignore them, and don't wait to act. These are early warning signs of what most likely is coming next, which is more inventory and fewer pendings. What do we see this morning? Right. Okay. The cause and challenge of a shift, this is the bottom of page 49, is simply one word: motivation. Right? So find the motivated. Okay, price ahead of the market. I wanted to show you guys this. So Gary did this in a room a while ago, and I've used this a couple of times. Some of you may not have seen it in probably a year. Okay, so prices, as you saw in recessions, really didn't move much outside of 2007. They might have had a slight dip, and then within a year, they're back to where they were or higher. Okay, so but let's say we get to a point where we're in that short slip for just a second, and it could be a small one. It could be but it's gonna fix itself very quickly. Let me ask you a question. This is what I used to do for a seller. A lot of them say, well, I'm just gonna time the market. You know, okay, I'm just gonna time the market. I'm gonna sell it at the peak, or I'm gonna buy it when it's at the bottom. Okay. Let's say this is the market, so I'm gonna draw a line. I want you to tell me when to stop. When did we hit the peak of the market? When was the best time to sell? So somebody yell stop once I've hit it.
Stop.
Missed it.
Now.
Missed it.
Now.
Missed it. Okay, do you see the point here? You're not gonna know until after
It's
it's
like
happened.
trying to catch a knife falling.
Right. Yeah. So here's what happens. If this as it relates, and it can go the other way too. You can do the exact opposite of bottom of the market as well, right? It's impossible to time the market. Okay. Here, if we knew how to do that, we wouldn't be sitting in this room. We'd be on our own private island somewhere on our yacht, right? So here's another way to look at this. If prices, let's say that prices during, let's say there does happen to be a little dip, right? And then they come back up. Let's say this period is a year, okay, or 11 months or whatever it is during that time before they come back up. It's okay. They're going to come back up. And we don't even know that this is necessarily going to happen. I want to be really clear on that. It may not. It may just stop going 20%, maybe 3 or 4 or 5% increases, okay? Yet here's what happens. If this starts to happen, if we start to see prices decreasing in a neighborhood, keep an eye on this, right? Keep watching it, see if prices start to decrease. Hadn't yet, it may not, just keep your eye on it, okay? If we list the home this day and prices are going here, let's say you took a listing agreement today, and let's say prices were going down. What is that house worth when it finally hits the market 3 weeks later, or 4 weeks later, or a month later? Less. So we have priced it incorrectly. So what the smart agents do is they price ahead of the market. Not a lot, just slightly. Why? Supply and demand. It's going to fix itself. You cannot underprice a property, right? Supply and demand will fix that. There will be multiple, even in the worst market, you will get multiple. I remember back in 2009 and 10, the hot properties still had multiple offers on them. Okay, so the market will fix it. So we've got to be prepared on where we're going. So watch the market. And right now, the conversation is not about, pricing it under the market right now. Right now, the market's still hot. What I'd be telling our sellers, you guys remember from Chartmasters, by day 4, the average, this is when you're the highest, was 104.7% of list price. So your best chance of getting the most money possible is by day 4, right? And then if you remember, if we got to, I think it was 14 days, it was 100%. And after that, it drops off after that. So I would be, right now, if I'm talking to a seller, I would show them some of these numbers and say, hey, market's fine right now. But I wouldn't be your economist of choice, your real estate agent, if I didn't show you what we're looking at. We're seeing increased homes on the market, less homes going under contract. So something's going on right now. Don't know where it's going to go. Let's just keep our eye on it. And yet, if we go up on the market and we don't go under contract within 4 days, we're likely not going to, I wouldn't give them this number, but I'd say we're likely not going to see above list price. If we get to 14 days, I'd recommend making a price adjustment. If you guys remember in Chartmasters, the average price adjustment was about 4.5%. We're not going to make a $100 adjustment or a $1,000 adjustment. If it's a $400,000 house, you're looking at a $16,000 to $20,000 adjustment, right? It should be in a market with less than a month of inventory or right at a month, it should be under contract 14 days. If it's not, it is priced too high. Make sense? Yes. Is that helpful? Explain it this way too? Okay. Okay. All right. Page 135 of Shift, it says when previously they were aggressively pushing prices forward, now they're equally aggressive in trying to pull them back. The truth is the market remains full of people who genuinely want to buy and sell. Both parties want to do it. They just don't want to be taken advantage of, either party, right? The question is, at what price? At what price? Not chasing the market means pricing your listings ahead of it. When a house isn't priced ahead of the market, it's essentially behind the opportunity curve, the opportunity to get the best price possible. Page 142 of Shift. Okay. All right. Questions on that? You guys good? Okay. And this is, I hope this is being recorded. You can go back and watch any of it on YouTube. Stand out from the competition. Stand out. This isn't you as an agent. We'll talk about that in a second. This is the house standing out from the competition. So on page 158 of Shift. Okay, you get all that stuff. That's okay. On page 158, so stand out from the competition. Right now, I mean, just about anything is selling. That may change when it will change. When there's not multiple offers and everything, and buyers are a little uneasy about the market, it's not going to be everything sells. You might have to actually do some things with the house to get it to sell. So staging, paint, carpet, landscaping, pressure washing, and it's going to be up to you as an agent to be able to look at the market and say, well, what needs to be done? I used to give 3 prices, and I would say, as is, here's where the homes that haven't had any needed updates were kind of run down. Here's what they needed. I wouldn't say run down. I don't want to call somebody's house run down, right? But here's what houses didn't have anything done to them sold for. It's similar to yours, okay? Here's a price if we did some light upgrades. If we just, paint and carpet, just clean up the landscaping. And here, if we went all out and remodel the bathrooms, and here's what those homes are bringing. Where do you want to be? Here's what it would cost to do some of that stuff. Where do you want to be? They say, well, let me get some more quotes and we'll decide, So I walk them through that process. Make sense? So we just, but how do you do that? Pricing is one of the most difficult things as an agent. And unfortunately, for the past 10 years, we haven't had to be very good at pricing. Why? Because the market fixed it. Prices were always going up. They level off or even dip a little bit. It's going to require us to be good about pricing. Practice this. Start looking into this. Okay. All right. Create urgency. Overcoming reluctance. So here this is. I may not have done that one. Yeah, I didn't. So that's okay though. So creating urgency, overcoming reluctance. How can we create urgency? We talked a lot about it today.
Focus on their motivation. What is their motivation?
Mhm.
Bring them back to their motivation.
Right.
And also using the market data, what's happening in the market to keep them motivated.
That's it. Yeah, we need to find, so we're finding the motivated, they got they got a big why, they have to move, right? And we want to create urgency, overcoming reluctance. They might say, oh yeah, do you need to move? Man, I'm a little nervous about this. Sure, pull the data out, show them here's what's happening, right? This is why this is still a good decision. Be that economist of choice. And let them know too, like I used to always say, look, it doesn't matter to me if you move now, 6 weeks from now, or 6 years from now, I'll be here. It's up for you and your family on when it makes the most sense for you to make a move. Let's look at the numbers, let's look at what's going on in the market and make that decision together, shall we? And just walk them through it. Okay, master the market of the moment. So what does that look like? What's the market of the moment right now? What are some things that would get your phone to ring? What would be a message you could use?
Do you want to take advantage of the massive equity?
Yeah.
Taking advantage of the massive equity that you have in your home today versus allowing it to be ebbed away as interest rates continue to rise.
Right. Yeah. Purchasing power buyers is going down. Maximize your equity right now. It's a great message. Yeah. Home swap program, cash offer on your home. I mean, there's a reason Mark Spain has billboards all over Atlanta. That message works. You can do it too with the Keller offers. How many of those homes actually get bought through this program? Very few. But it gets his foot in the door. With people raising their hand, they want to sell. Right, Ann?
I have to review my legal documents.
Yeah. So, all right. Makes sense. So master the market of the moment. And that's going to change too. You know, the story right now, like it no longer is a big deal to say, oh, I got 112% of list price. You know, it might be, are you worried where you're going to move? Talk to me about my secret our secret inventory. Like that, those kind of conversations. Find your next home first. Okay. Bulletproof the transaction. This is the last one I want to show you guys. I'm actually going to put it up on the screen. You don't need to read this because the font's going to be small, but it'll get, back that. Okay, that too. Okay, maybe I didn't put it in here. Thought I did. I'm going to put it in there in a few minutes. How about that? So there's six bulletproofing the transaction issues and solutions. Write these down. I'm not going to go through all of them together. The first one is inspections and repairs. The second one is appraisals. The third one is loan approval and funding. The fourth one is other contingencies, like sale of the buyer's house, third-party approvals, estates, reload, whatever else, cloud of title. The fifth one is co-op agent, be an issue. And the sixth one, that could be a sixth issue, could be deadlines. So what does this look like? Inspections and repairs. So unexpected findings. It could be complexity in the report. It could be cost and who pays for this stuff. It could be the timetable for repairs. I can't get windows. I can't get a roof. I can't get whatever it is. Doubt about worthiness. Is this house still worth what I went under contract for? There's solutions for each of these. You know, so 10 buyer and or set with signer on the going through the report together. Like be there after you could be there at the inspection. Cost and who pays for what? You could pre-negotiate limits. Timetable for repairs. Select and supervise your vendors. Doubt about worthiness. Prepare and reassure the buyer about what's going to happen in inspection. One thing I've heard a lot of smart agents say is, "Hey, Mr. and Miss Buyer, this is the initial consultation with the buyer. You know, as we're out there looking at homes, we're going to get an inspection done. And every single home is going to have a 42-page inspection report. They're all going to have creosote in the chimney, open ground, double tap circuit, windows have lost the thermal steel. Mark my words, you're going to see that on every single one of them outside of Rainier, right? So, and even brand new, they're all hand built. They're going to have things on them too. Just know that we can work through it, right? And what we're going to do is, if the seller's not willing to do repairs, if we're still in the market where they're not doing them, we're going to get quotes. We're going to say, what would it actually cost? Rather than getting the report back and being overly concerned and adding zeros to what it's going to cost, we're going to get real quotes on it and then make a decision whether or not we want to move forward. Fair enough? We can't do that when we're at the house looking around. They're gonna be like, well, what do you see in this house that makes you think it's gonna have 42 pages? You know, you have to have that conversation up front. Does that make sense? Before you're at the house, okay? Appraisals, you know, it won't support the price, won't support the loan, doesn't match the market analysis. I used to put together packets for the appraisal up front. You know, and I would provide information where they would get there and it would all be there. I'd email it to them ahead of time. You're allowed to provide data. So and we can have a whole class on that. Find additional buyer funds, appeal the appraisal, that's hard. I just in the essence of time, I'm going to send this out and it goes through solutions to everything. And it's up to you as a professional real estate agent to start bulletproofing your transactions. Okay. We only covered a few of the shift tactics, and we really didn't go into much detail on any of them. I want to make sure that you guys are writing down your notes, because I'm going to give away some books in a few minutes. Okay, so Matchmaker, you guys there's a link here. So if you aren't using it, click on this when it goes out later today. If you have a buyer that's struggling to find a home, see what's on there. If you have one coming up soon, put it on there. It's on that list. Okay. All right, top 20 awards. Take a look and celebrate these wonderful people. All right, number 20, Jake at 102,000. Tied at number 20, Alan Wyatt. Number 19, Chad Brown. So Alan and Chad are actually number 19, 105 each. Pam Weatherby is at 107 so far for the year. Mike and Margot Schulte, 108. Michael and Roxy are at 111. Ann Kim, 124. Number 14, Raina, sitting up here is at 130. Number 13, Tatum is at 133. You can catch it, Raina. Number 12 is Stephanie, who's in here as well. So far for the year at 135. So proud of you in the short period of time you've been in this business. We'll give a round of applause in a second. Hang on. I don't want to clap for this one person. Let's clap for everybody. Brett is at number 11 at 136. John Serrano, who I saw walking around out there, is at 136 as well, 884. So we're in the top 10. Pam Griffith at 141. Jim Hardesty at 143. Sarah and Nathan Sloan at 145. These numbers are close together, aren't they? Right? And by the way, this has been a slower start to the year than a lot of people have had. So seeing these numbers in a more seasonal, I'm really curious to see what happens in the summer months that we're approaching on where these go. Scott and Lorelei at 155. Dustin Kimberly at 203. Carrie Veal, who we saw a few minutes ago, she stepped out 209 so far for the year. Jamie Simpson at 307. Tom and Joanne Curtin at 343, and Peggy's at 352 as individual agents so far this year. Let's get them all right. So I love the pictures that Robin put. She does such cool things and stepping in this role. I love seeing the tweets she makes. So congratulations, everybody.
Who was the gentleman who did MRA in 4 months?
Lakshmi. Oh, I'm sorry. No, Lakshmi. He was. It was Nitin and Sarabi. At Keller Williams, North Atlanta. They already hit MRA this year in 4 months. They've been in the business for less than 5 years. And we really like 4 months MREA, and they've been in the business less than 5 years. So great team. We're going to do a mastermind. I was talking with Andy about it too. I might put together a mastermind with like the MREA teams and have people share ideas and what's working well. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. All right. Red Day.
Yes.
This is our company. We've got to make a difference. Roxy, give her a round of applause.
First, let me pass these around for Robin. That's to get little cards. Piggybacking off of what Aubrey had said, if anyone really wants to look back at the last recession and really see what it was like, there's a movie called The Flaw. Have you seen it?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, The Flaw. It's been out for a number of years, but it's very interesting. Yeah, there was depression there too, because I was in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Red Day is Thursday. We have 7 different opportunities. 3 of them are to eat. So if you look at this right here, your calendar, there will be breakfast here in the morning on Thursday. It's in 2 days from 8:30 to 9:30, being sponsored by RIA Inspections. Then we've got 2 groups doing foster care support. When you get to foster care support, you will have to fill out a waiver. Okay. Then our second opportunity there is Crabapple Senior Center. You will have to fill out a waiver too when you get there. The third one, same thing, delivering baskets. I still could use a couple of people to deliver baskets to homebound seniors. Okay, and there is a waiver that I'll have to get you to fill out today. Thank you, Crystal.
And then also we've got yard work. All of these different projects have team captains. You should have already heard from your team captain or gotten a waiver that's been sent to you. So if you are doing yard work or delivering baskets, if you'll stay here today so I can make sure that you get your waiver signed. Any questions about Red Day?
What is the other two options for meal?
The other two options, okay. Lunch will be provided from I Think Financial, one of our new vendor sponsors, and Lunch Pro. It will literally be, you're going to get to pack your own lunch. Okay, so I'll have the bags. We'll have a variety of different sandwiches. You can come by 12:30 to 1:30 in between shifts and grab lunch. And then for those of you that are very daring, we'll be going to El Portone from 4 to 6 for our Roswell on the Rocks on Alpharetta Highway. Okay. No margaritas, anybody?
Yes.
I'll be there. So,
Thank you, Roxy.
yeah, if you have
Anything
any
else?
questions, just reach out to me or Merland.
So where do we start? We go to the location that we signed up for?
Yes.
That's where we start?
Yes. Yep.
Give her a round of applause for all of our work.
We gotta start in the office.
Everybody.
Aubrey?
Into that. Okay, before, yeah, it's missing a slide answer. That's okay. Before we go to the motivational minute, I want to ask you guys, what was your takeaway today? Give me a couple takeaways.
I also, before I guess everybody said their takeaway, I wanted to also say on Audible, I don't know if everybody's real big on Audible, but I just, as we're talking about shit, I was just like, I'm just gonna download it because I had a credit. So I just got the book.
Yeah,
like
listen
that,
to
but
it.
I wanted to also
Yeah.
say that they have credits on there where we can be able to just pay a subscription of $15 a month, but you're getting a free book every month. And like I have books that's like $45, $50 that I'm getting for $15.
Yeah.
And you know, your credits can build up if you're not having to buy one every month, but I like to just keep reading it.
Absolutely. Great tip.
Keep learning.
That's it.
Every day.
Oh, you want to tag on that? We're going to, yeah.
I was trying to add to that, is that once you suspend your account, Audible still works. So
Yeah,
every
you
book,
keep-
you have any, you stop, want to take a pause, those books that you have, they're still there.
Yeah, you have it. 3 years. Yeah, good. Okay. All right, takeaway.
Yeah, I just bought 2 expensive tickets to Europe for my son and I.
Mhm.
So I need to find the motivated people.
Yes, you do. Pay for that nice trip. Yes,
Pay for that
absolutely.
trip, so,
Yes. Yeah, I saw one hand over here and then it was Nicole afterwards.
I mean, 6 1/4, 2 points for investors, and Alex is talking about, they're looking at minimum 720 FICOs. That's wild, guys. That's wild.
So how can we tie that into a conversation? How can we use that?
Oh, I mean, yeah. Find motivation, find property, then lock it in again. I would move on to investors, so getting creative with how we tie that package together so that it's so attractive to the seller. Even though they're at a higher price point, I mean, it's all about that negotiation.
There you go. Love it. Marie?
Price added market.
Yes. Nicole?
So I've heard this quote several times. I think John Wooden is part of it. Luck is when preparation is opportunity. However, break it down. What do I need to do now? And what do I need to be prepared?
Yeah.
I'll tie that down based on what Nicole just said. I've always loved Wayne Gretzky, but the skate to where the puck is. You know,
Yeah.
that
Where it's
you know,
going.
where it's
Where it's
going.
going,
So tying that into our business, you know, everyone has been very satiated in the years that we have experienced this market. But for the people that have been in the market for a long time, it's nothing new to know that the market is changing, but to stop being complacent and get into action and start doing the things that you know you should be doing. Because, you know, this wake up and get 10, 20, 30, 40 offers, that's gonna change. So it's good to know.
It is. It is.
Good to know
Okay.
how to get into action.
Yes. Anybody else?
Well, I liked the 104.7% by day 4, by day 14, 100%, and average pressure at 4.5.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, Michelle and then Sissy.
I don't know why this never clicked with me, maybe everybody else understands, but when you were writing down the 7 tactics, it just clicked in every single one of Gary's books. The number 1 tactic is mindset.
Every single one.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Sissy.
In terms of the shift, I love that quote that everyone will, but everyone can.
But anyone can. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Francis.
I can be motivated. This Saturday, I have to meet this Saturday. I had to persuade a lady for listing locked there. And on Saturday, I thought I had it in the bag until, the Wall Street person came and said, no, don't sell now. The bubble, and she retracted. So, but I made a decision to say, you know what, she's not motivated.
I'm motivated. That's it. Okay. All right. The first two people that I heard raise their hand when I asked for the off. You're welcome. Thank you for your participation. And second one was Chris, or where you guys can find over there. Go Chris. I don't know. There you go. I love it. Okay, I want to close. I can smell the food. I want to close this out on a good foot. I want to share this with you. It was on my mind. It was from listening to a few different things and putting my thoughts together. Growth is evolution. Growth is necessary. Growth is something we welcome with open arms, because the reality is if we don't evolve, we'll never break through. We'll never overcome our current challenges, and we'll never make the progress we desire. We must always be growing. So who do you need to become this year to achieve the things that you're aiming for? And looking at what you intend to bring into your life in the coming months, what new skill set do you guys need to develop or acquire? The truth is, the things we see in our growth plan should make us uncomfortable because it's not who we are yet. And we've come to know that everything we want in life is on the other side of our comfort zone. That growth, that breakthrough that we so much desire is on the other side of that comfort zone. So commitment is a catalyst for positive change. Commitment is a catalyst for positive change. So aspire to make a difference, aspire to evolve, aspire to grow, and aspire to be committed to that growth. Because without commitment, you'll never start. And without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not going to be easy. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So keep moving, keep growing, and keep learning. I look forward to seeing you in your success this year. Thank you, guys. Was that?
Can you include that?
Oh, yeah, I can put that in there. Sure. Nicole.
Yes, yes, that's from
Hey, y'all, real quick. Yeah. One quick statement here. Before y'all get in line for lunch, you guys are not having A2 or shrimp A2 it can't see if there's seafood in it. But for those of you who don't know how to do it, scoop rice and then scoop A2. Okay.